So good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you. You're not going to hear much from me today, but I just thought I'd say hello. I want to tell you a really quick story. My first manifestation in finding science of mind was finding this philosophy. In my early 20s, some teen years ago, I had been looking for spiritual community. I had been looking for a spiritual teacher. I wanted a place that I could deepen into my spiritual education. And along those lines, as calling in that intention, I got called to check out this place called the Camarillo Center for Spiritual Living. And I'd never been to a CSL before, and I walk in, and as I'm sitting in the back row, as you do in your first day in a new place, they introduced that it's the brand new minister's first day on the job. And up walks this fabulous woman with purple hair. And I went, oh, I could follow this person. And that was Reverend Grace Lovejoy's first day and her first ministry, 15, 18 years ago, something like that. And I took all of my Science of Mind classes through my practitioner training with Reverend Grace. She is truly my first spiritual teacher, also one of my deepest friends, probably what I would call my fairy godmother at this point, and now also one of my students, which has been a fun, full circle journey for both of us, I think. So it's also Reverend Grace's birthday today. So let's invite her up. We're going to give Reverend Grace the opportunity to speak to us today. Let's give her a warm welcome, the amazing Grace Lovejoy. And let's start like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gracie. Happy birthday to you. Love you.
Hi. This month we're talking about speaking truth to circumstances. And as Reverend Tamara pointed out last month when we were doing self-care, these things are hard to live through. You get an actual circumstance to have to live through. And I'm going to tell you a long story. Those of you on television, if I were you, I'd go pour myself a mimosa and come back. It's a long story. I would like you to meet my sloth. I've been wanting a sloth for a long time because a while ago, I had to start wearing an oxygen concentrator, and it had a little backpack, and one I could drag around. It's a really short one. It was ridiculous. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And Elisha says, you should get a backpack like a sloth and carry your oxygen in that one. That was back when I could carry it on my back. And this week, my friend Sheila gave me a sloth. His name is Fast Eddie Slocum. It took him a long time to tell me that. You sort of want to slow down when you're with Eddie. Things just go like that. But I'm going to ask Eddie to guard my oxygen and just hang out. So I have a circumstance in my life. It's a long story, and I'm going to give it all to you because I got the mic. So before I retired in 2019, I was deciding where in Santa Cruz to live because I was coming back here. That's the thing I knew. My friends in my mastermind group, Kaylee and Elisha and Cheryl, said, they're helping me with it, and my friends Kate and Rusty, who live in Morgan Hill, said, come live with us. We got the little cottage. We'll clean it out. Trust me on this one, it needed to be cleaned out. It was like storage. You know how that goes. We'll make you a little cottage. And I went, I don't know. I want to be in Santa Cruz. Everyone here knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to be in Morgan Hill, but I do love Kate and Rusty. And dang, Katie is like my sister friend. And Cheryl says, well, you could live with us too. And I go, well, dang, that's closer to Santa Cruz, and Cheryl's my sister friend. And they said, you don't have to choose. Why don't you be by mountain? You just go over the mountain every once in a while. So that's what I did. So I moved. I didn't even get to move into my cottage in March of 2020. A date that will live in infamy for all of us. My friend Katie died. She just died in her sleep. As ways to die go, I'm okay with that one. But it's really shocking. And I love Rusty, but he's not my sister friend. He's my best brother friend, but not my sister friend. Girls know what I'm talking about. So I go, okay, I'm living both places, which worked out really well for a while. And Rusty comes up to me one day and he says, you get to live in this house as long as you're alive. Rent-free. Do I have a good life or what? Yeah. No kidding, it's an adorable cottage. Excuse me, bangle bracelets are actually designed to bangle. And I forget that I talk with my hands. And 10 minutes later, his daughter, who will be the person who inherits the property, comes up and says the same thing. You get to live in this house for the rest of your life. Okay, thank you, everyone. It didn't get written down in the will. I say to myself, I wonder what this is about. Now I know. So a couple of weeks ago, Layla comes up and she says, I really need you to move out of this house so I can rent it because I can't make it. Now, from my eyes, and believe me, I'm outside of her life, so I don't know what's going on in her life, but I know she inherited 2 mortgage-free houses, and the property was sold, so there'll be a cash settlement as well. And I'm thinking, wow, she must have a big gambling debt. We make stuff up, by the way. That's armadillo poop. But it's totally shocking to me, and I say, no, I'm not moving. And she says, well, you have a room over at Cheryl's, and I go, this was promised to me as my legacy from Kate and Rusty. And I said, there's always a solution. First, both of us want the same thing. Both of us want me to live in Santa Cruz. Yeah? That's one. And I know that there's always a happy ending to these things. So I'm not worried about it at all. Plus, there's a backstory that Layla doesn't know. And it's this. And my mama died in about early 2000s. And she and my stepdad had asked me to be the executor of their estate because they knew that I would share the money equally amongst my mom's 3 kids and my stepdad's 2 kids. So I sent an email out to all my siblings and step-siblings, and I said, I promise that I will divide the estate evenly and give each one of us 1/5 portion. Okay, everybody agrees. And my mom and my stepdad spent the rest of their lives vying to be the last one standing so they could cut the other one's kids out of the will. They loved me with all their heart, small hearts. That's the difference, you know. Some people love with all their heart and they have great big generous hearts. Some people love with all their heart. It's a tiny little heart. So, my stepdad died first. My mother has all the money in CDs. This is all more information than you need, but I can't shorten it anyway. And my mother, who spent 20 years as a banker, knows that if you put it in a joint account, whoever's the other member of your account gets the money. And she puts it in an account with my brother and says, don't give Wes's kids any money. And my brother was willing to comply. And my sister joined him. And that did not feel good to me. So, what I did is, I sent an email to my step-siblings, and I said, I can't do anything about anybody but me. But from my standpoint, I will divide my portion into 5 pieces and give each of you 1/5. And my stepbrother pitched a hissy. Blah, blah, blah. That's because he didn't need the money. He's a wealthy man. But my stepsister did. And it's like he's going on and on and on. And I finally said to him, how about if I take your portion and add it to Margaret Ann's portion, and I give her 2/5? And he went, okay. So I got to buy my integrity with that. I know what it feels like to stand upright in my moral integrity and keep my word. That was the best thing I ever invested in. And Kate and Rusty knew that story. As a matter of fact, they asked me to be the executor of their estate. And then their estate got very complicated, and I'm really glad I didn't have to do that. But here I am in the middle of a controversy now, because there's nothing in writing about me getting to stay in the house for the rest of my life. And frankly, I intend for it to be long. Way past the time when you're bored with me. Yes, I'm hanging in there. And because Kate and Rusty knew about this story about dividing it up, they asked me to be their executor. And I already got to that part where, I'm standing there in the house and I go. So now I finally understand why Rusty didn't write it in the will. Because I get to teach Layla how to hold her integrity. It is imperative that I do that for her sake, not for mine. I want to live in Santa Cruz. So I like the solution of buying me out. What do you think? So the reason I'm telling you this story really is because I'm inviting you to all be part of the truth I'm speaking to circumstances, and you'll help me get to Santa Cruz. This many people in a united mind, it cannot fail to become a reality. I don't really care how the story gets there. It's going to be quite an adventure. We're going to laugh a lot along the way because it's supposed to be fun. All of you who know Abraham Hicks, raise your hand. Okay, it's supposed to be fun. I'm having fun. And I'm not distressed or distracted. Well, I'm distracted, but I'm always distracted. I'm not distressed in the slightest about being potentially homeless. I'm never going to be homeless. All I have to do is go, can I sleep on your couch? And any one of you would say yes. You may not keep me long, but I'm kind of fun to have around. So here's what I'm telling you. Whatever the circumstances are in your life, the truth is your story has a happy ending. You're supposed to have a happy ending. If the ending isn't happy, it ain't the end. So just keep working it. Just keep working it. Everything that comes up in your life, not enough money, that stuff comes and goes. It comes in two ways. It comes in steady streams like income or your retirement or whatever, or it comes in big chunks and little chunks. It comes in chunks, it comes in streams. Open yourself to receive. Be willing to receive and always say yes to your good. This is from Emma Curtis Hopkins, one of the teachers of Ernest Holmes. Always say yes to your good. My good is my God, and my God is my good. If it's good for me, it is godly. So, always say yes to your good. When your good comes to you, then you say yes to the person who's offering it. Thank you. More, please. The infinite is generous and abundant. Keep in mind the generous part. It's not just doling stuff out in small amounts because that's all you can handle. What if I gave you $1 million? I could do it. I could do it. Let me show you. I would spend it as frivolously and as fast as possible. I would have parties. I would give you plenty. I want all of you to have rich, abundant lives and generous hearts. Not tiny little hearts that don't think there's enough of anything anywhere, that you have to clutch what you think you have, because you will find out just how temporary things are on the planet. So along with all that stuff that's going on, as you know, we had floods here in Santa Cruz. Cheryl and Owen's house, my house on this side of the hill, got flooded 3 times. They're rebuilding it. I think they should build a dam instead. But it's coming out so beautiful. I can't wait to move back into my room. Because at the moment, I'm living on 2 sides of the mountain. There's some big advantages to me in the little house over in Morgan Hill. One of them is that my nature is that I'm a gregarious hermit. It does sound like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? But what it means is that I can be out here, I'm loving this, I get to talk to you, it's like, I'm so excited. And if I'm not having fun, I'd rather be alone. Big time. So the last 6 months I've spent a lot of time alone. It's been really good for the hermit in my soul. But this past week, I had company. On Monday, Sky came out to play with me. She came and she brought avocado good, and stuff to do Zentangles. Do you know what I'm talking about? Doodling. It's just doodling. I am an artist. I'm saying that out loud, I'm claiming it. I sold a painting for $1,000. Holy cow! I could use the money. Why the heck am I not painting? Explain that to me if you can. The muse, So Sky comes over, brings some play toys, and we Zen-tangle for the afternoon. I did one yesterday, Sky. Thank you. It's opening the door again for creativity, for a change in my life patterns again. After this big closure with pandemic, my friends dying, retiring from my pulpit, moving up here, the whole thing was exhausting. But I think I'm caught up now. Watch out. Stuff happens. So I want to be back to painting. Who wouldn't want to make their living playing? What's keeping me from that? I do not know. So I'm here to have you help me. So that happened on Monday. On Thursday, my friend Sheila came by. Sheila came by with a bag, and she says, she's in a reading group. She watches on television, on whatever video we've got going out there. And when I mentioned that I have several reading groups where we read out loud to each other, and it takes a long time to read a book because I get distracted a lot, and I'll take you with me. We go off on tangents in every direction. It took a year to read Braiding Sweetgrass. And it was more fun. All of my groups have read Braiding Sweetgrass. And she called me. She said, I heard you say that. Can I join one of your groups? I went, yeah, sure. Any one of you can. See me. I'll tell you how. And so we've developed this close relationship through the reading group. And she comes over on Thursday and says, I brought you something. One of the things I'm having difficulty with is I don't have any appetite. And I've gotten skinny. There aren't too many people whose problem is, oh man, I'm skinny. It's my problem. It's the same thing as the other end of the spectrum. I weigh too much. It's just a spectrum. Everybody's on the spectrum. And in the process of that, Sheila takes out of her bag Fruz balls. They're peanut butter and jelly balls, and pop a few of these in your mouth. They may perk up your appetite. And a little while later, she pulls out of her bag avocado powder. Add that to your smoothies. Hurrah! Then she pulls out Fast Eddie Slocum. I've been wanting that sloth for a long time. She pulls it out of her Mary Poppins bag. And the last thing is that I'm cold a lot. It's 101 degrees in Morgan Hill the other day. I had my electric throw around me. It was down into the 70s in the morning. I'm cold. She brought me a heated vest. All of this in this little bag. Holy cow. And then Jason and Elisha stopped by, and Elisha weed-whacked my front yard. Thank you, God, and Elisha. And Jason, who likes to clean, cleaned my kitchen. I can't find things, but I like it. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, whatever it is, whatever circumstance you're looking in the face today, it's not going to stay. It's my favorite phrase in the Bible, and it came to pass. That's it. It just came to pass. So, I'm here to say, if you need help, come see a practitioner, or me or Elisha, get a prayer, and let us help you change the way you look at your circumstances, and your life will change. If you change your thinking, your life will change. Yes. Thank you. I hope you understood what you think I said. Mark, who has on the red hat, at tea, you really must check his shoes. It's worth it. If you will, though, the rest of you sit down. There's... So sit down and be quiet and put your feet on the floor. I'm going to say a little prayer. I'm going to say a little prayer to remind us all who we are. That we are the gift of God to each other. That's the way it works. Let us be loving and helpful, because love is all there is. God is love. God is all there is. And that's all there is to say. So I said it. And so it is.